All right, strap in, everybody. We're going deep today. We're tackling a concept that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. Like, what if, and just hear me out, what if advanced alien civilizations are using binary stars to, get around?
Oh, wow. Using binary star systems for interstellar travel. Now, that's a really fascinating idea.
It is right.
Yeah.
And it's not just some random sci-fi idea either. It's actually a hypothesis put forward by philosopher Clement Vidal.
Yeah, Vidal's hypothesis. I've read his paper, and it's definitely thought-provoking.
It is, right. But before we get into the really wild stuff, let's take a step back for a second and think about stars in general. Like our sun is kind of a loner out there, but most stars aren't actually like that, right?
You're right. Most stars aren't loners. They exist in these pairs. We call them binary systems.
Binary star systems, exactly. So it's
Yeah.
basically two stars orbiting each other.
Mm.
And Vidal thinks that a civilization that's, way ahead of us technologically could maybe manipulate these systems for, like, long-distance travel.
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
But, okay, hold on a sec. Why would an advanced civilization even want to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, moving an entire star, that's got to take a crazy amount of energy, even for, like, super advanced aliens.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's actually kind of the point. If you think about it, traditional space travel, like with rockets and fuel, that just won't cut it for interstellar distances. The distances are just too vast.
Right, yeah, it'd be like, I don't know, trying to sail across the ocean in, like, a tiny rowboat.
Exactly. It's just not practical.
Yeah.
So Vidal's hypothesis is basically that if you could somehow harness the energy of a binary star system, you could turn it into this like massive cosmic engine.
That makes sense. So instead of building a spaceship, they're basically using the star itself as the ship.
Yeah, precisely. He's suggesting that these advanced aliens could figure out a way to manipulate the gravitational forces within the binary system, and that would, in a way, cause one of the stars to push or pull the entire system in a certain direction.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking about steering a star. How would they even do that? Are we talking about, like, giant space ropes or something?
Haha. No, not exactly space ropes. Vidal's idea is that they could manipulate the star's magnetic fields, or even create uneven heating on the star's surface. Think of it like a cosmic rocket engine, where the star itself is the fuel source.
Wait, so they'd be making the star shoot out matter to create thrust.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Wouldn't that be, like, super dangerous
Yeah,
and messy?
for sure. It would require a level of control that we can barely even comprehend. I mean, we're talking about harnessing the power of a star here, but But theoretically, if you could control the way a star releases energy and matter, you could, in theory, steer it.
Okay, so this is all super mind-blowing, but is there any actual evidence to back this up? I mean, having a cool idea is one thing, but is there anything to suggest that this could actually be happening out there?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Vidal points to some real-world binary systems that have some pretty intriguing characteristics, like those Black Widow and redback pulsars.
Oh yeah, I remember reading about those. They're those super dense, rapidly spinning stars that seem to be, like, devouring their companion stars.
Right. Now, it's important to remember that these pulsars are most likely natural phenomena. There are explanations for their behavior that don't involve aliens, but they do give us a glimpse into some of the strange and fascinating things that can happen in binary systems.
So even if those pulsars aren't evidence of alien staring stars, they show us that things can get pretty wild out there, right?
Absolutely. The universe is full of surprises.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
All right, so we've laid out Vidal's wild idea. We've talked about why aliens might even want to steer stars. And we've even touched on some real-world systems that show us just how weird and wonderful the universe can be. But how do we know if this is really happening? How do we separate science fiction from actual science?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it all comes down to one thing: evidence. What would it take to convince the scientific community that this isn't just a fun thought experiment, that this is a real phenomenon happening out there in the cosmos?
That is the question, isn't it? So, deep divers, we've got ourselves a real cosmic mystery on our hands today. Okay, so evidence. What are we even looking for here? Like, are we going to find alien road signs pointing towards some kind of cosmic freeway?
Huh, if only it were that easy. But seriously, think about it. These events would be happening on an incredible scale, like across light years. So the evidence we'd be looking for, it's going to be pretty subtle, and it's going to take some real detective work.
Okay, no flashing lights or giant welcome signs. Got it. So what kind of subtle clues should we be looking for?
Well, one idea is to look for anything unusual in the movement of stars, especially those in binary systems. If there's a civilization out there that's messing with gravitational forces, those stars wouldn't be moving the way we'd expect.
So anomalies,
Uh-huh.
like stars making weird turns or speeding up for no apparent reason. But wouldn't those kinds of things happen naturally, too? I mean, space is a pretty chaotic place.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what makes this so tricky. We'd have to be able to tell the difference between like natural anomalies and ones that might show, deliberate manipulation.
So how do we do that? It feels like searching for a needle in a cosmic haystack.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. But let's say we observe multiple binary systems and they're all exhibiting these similar unexplainable movements, especially if the movements seem like coordinated.
Hmm. Okay. So not just one star acting strange, but maybe a whole bunch of them doing some kind of synchronized space ballet.
Now, that would be something. That would definitely raise some eyebrows in the scientific community. It would suggest that something more than random chance is going on.
Right. Even super advanced aliens would have trouble hiding that kind of choreography. But hey, what about those pulsars that Vidal talked about? The Black Widow and redback ones. Don't those already act a bit strange?
They do. They have some pretty unusual behavior, especially with their rapid rotation and how they interact with those nearby companion stars. But as we talked about earlier, those pulsars are most likely just natural phenomena. We can explain their behavior without having to bring aliens into it.
Right, right. So they're a good example of how something can seem really weird, even defy our expectations, but still have a natural explanation. Good reminder to, stick to the evidence.
Couldn't agree more. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And when we're talking about civilizations that can manipulate stars, we need proof that's, well, really solid.
Okay, so let's say we rule out those pulsars as proof of alien star steering. What else could we look for? What would be like the smoking gun that would convince everyone, even the skeptics?
That's a good question. Well, imagine if we found evidence of massive artificial structures around those stars, structures designed to, harness the star's energy or even to control its movement.
Whoa, like a Dyson sphere. I've read about those in science fiction books. It's this giant shell that's built around a star to capture all its energy.
Exactly. Or something equally mind-blowing. If we detected something like that, even from light years away, that would be a game changer.
Yeah, but finding something like that, it'd be like finding a specific grain of sand on a beach. I mean, how would we even start to search for something that massive, but potentially invisible?
It would be incredibly difficult, no doubt. But telescopes and data analysis techniques are always improving. We're getting better at spotting weird things in the light from distant stars. It's like trying to find a tiny flicker in a vast sea of starlight.
Sounds like a long shot, but I guess not impossible. So we've got these cosmic detectives out there looking for these signs, the strange star movements, maybe even traces of these megastructures. But even if we never find that absolute proof, is there anything we can learn from just thinking about this possibility?
Oh, absolutely. Even considering the idea of star-steering civilizations forces us to broaden our perspective of what's possible out there in the universe. It challenges us to think about the limits of our own technology and imagination.
And maybe even makes us question our place in the grand scheme of things.
Exactly. It reminds us that we might not be the most advanced kids on the block, and that the universe is full of mysteries that we haven't even begun to grasp.
Well, I gotta say, thinking about all this star-steering alien stuff is making me feel a bit small, but also incredibly curious.
Me too. It's a feeling of like humility mixed with a sense of wonder, and it underscores how important it is to keep exploring, to keep pushing the boundaries of what we know, and to never stop asking the big questions.
You got that right. So, deep divers, we've explored how tough it would be to find evidence for Vidal's hypothesis. But even if we never find that smoking gun, just searching and asking these questions, it deepens our understanding of the universe. It's a journey of discovery.
It really is. And it reminds us that the universe is this vast, mysterious place, full of potential wonders that are beyond anything we can currently imagine.
Okay, so maybe we'll never know for sure if aliens are out there cruising around on stars.
Yeah.
But exploring this idea, this has taken us on quite a journey. We've learned about the incredible power of stars, the challenges of finding evidence, and what it would even mean to discover another intelligent civilization out there.
And what's even more amazing, there's still so much out there that we don't know. So much to discover.
Deep divers, I hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and left you feeling a sense of wonder about the universe and all the possibilities that are out there.
Keep looking up and keep asking those big questions. Who knows what incredible things we might find in the future?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep wondering. Welcome back, deep divers.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey so far, hasn't it? This whole concept of star-steering civilizations, from those mind-boggling physics to, like, trying to figure out what kind of evidence we should even be looking for, it's wild.
Yeah, it's been a real roller coaster ride through the cosmos, and now we're at the point where science fiction bumps right up against, well, real science and philosophy too, for that matter. Like, what would it actually mean for humanity if we found out that we're not the only ones out there shaping the universe?
That's the really big question, isn't it? Just trying to imagine looking up at the night sky and knowing that some of those stars might actually be alien spaceships. It's just, wow.
It would totally change how we see things, wouldn't it? Suddenly, we're not just looking at these distant suns, but at, like, potential homes for civilizations that are so much more advanced than us.
I keep wondering, how would we even handle that kind of discovery? Would it cause some kind of global existential crisis? Or would it maybe, launch this whole new era of scientific exploration?
It's hard to say for sure. I mean, look at human history. We've got plenty of examples of how we've reacted to discoveries that completely change our understanding of things. And sometimes it hasn't been pretty.
Yeah, we definitely have a tendency to freak out a little when things get too different. But I also think there's this, like, deep-seated curiosity in us. We want to know where we fit in the universe, I mean.
You're right, that curiosity is there, and I think that's what would ultimately win out over the fear. Think about it. Imagine the kind of scientific revolution that would happen if we discovered something like this.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
We'd be trying to figure out their technology, how they can manipulate gravity and harness all that energy from a star.
Exactly. And the philosophical implications, too. It would force us to really confront some of those big questions, like, are we alone? What's our purpose? What's our place in the grand scheme of things?
Those are questions that we've been asking forever.
Right.
But finding another civilization that can actually steer stars, that would make those questions so much more real.
It would be humbling, for sure, but also really exciting. It would mean that there's other intelligent life out there, other cultures, other ways of seeing the universe.
It'd be like the universe suddenly becomes this huge, vibrant place full of all these possibilities that we can barely even imagine.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe it would inspire us to push ourselves further. Maybe we could even learn from these star-steering civilizations and solve some of the problems we're facing here on Earth.
I like that. It's an optimistic way to look at it.
Hmm.
But what about the risks? I mean, we've all seen those sci-fi movies where first contact doesn't go so well. What if these civilizations aren't, so friendly?
That's a valid concern, no doubt. We can't just assume that every alien civilization out there is going to be benevolent, but we also can't let that fear stop us from exploring.
True. We have to be cautious, of course, but also open to learning and just, well, curious.
I think that's the key, to stay open to all the possibilities, the good and the bad, and to remember that even if we never find absolute proof of these star-steering civilizations, just considering the idea, it opens up our understanding of the universe and our place in it.
That's a good point. It's like the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
Exactly. And in this case, the journey is all about pushing our boundaries, challenging what we think we know and embracing the mystery of the cosmos.
All right, deep divers. So we've explored this whole idea of finding evidence for Vidal's hypothesis. And even if we never find that definitive proof, the fact that we're even asking these questions, it's taking us further down the path of understanding the universe. And who knows what other incredible ideas are out there waiting to be discovered.
That's the beauty of science and exploration, right? There's always something new to learn, something new to wonder about.
Absolutely. So keep looking up at the stars, folks. Keep asking those big questions. And until next time, keep on exploring. Keep wondering.